What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Cinematic Soul podcast. Today is a special day for a few reasons for today's movie and for my guest. I'm joined by Miss Brittany B, the doctor. Brittany, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I can't complain. You know, God is good all the time, right?
And all the time, God is good.
Absolutely. Today, we are talking about a movie that is special for several reasons. And that's why I wanted to bring Brittany on for this movie. She pays attention to the small details and things like that. She gets all the references. And if you know me, movie quotes and references is what I do full time. So if you can get that, then we can talk movies. I want to start with the whys, get to the colors and the music and things like that. But with this movie, there's so much of it. So we're talking about What's Love Got to Do with It? And that is the 1993, I want to say cult classic because it was received well, but I don't think it got what it deserved until well into the 2000s, right? In my opinion. So I'm going to call it a cult classic. It's remembered as a music biopic, but it becomes so much larger the deeper you look at it. And for you, Brittany, when did your love for movies begin? And then also, how did you feel about this movie when you first saw it? Or do you remember the first time you ever saw it?
Those are both good questions. When did I fall in love with movies and when did I first see What's Love Got to Do with It? So I fell in love with movies when I went to go see Titanic for the first time. I saw
Wow.
Titanic, yeah. I saw Titanic in theaters. And not to put a pun in here, but it was such a cinematic experience for me. Like
Come on.
the boat, the love story within it, but also the history behind it. And I think that's also why I like What's Love Got to Do with It because it's based on a true story. And Titanic, the imagery behind it was too, right? Like it wasn't just about Rose and Jack. Like a lot of people were like, "Oh my god, I think it's a real story." And it was like there may have been a couple on there that was in
Yeah.
love on the boat, right? But like Rose and Jack, were
Right.
fictional. But
Mhm.
the Titanic setting sail and trying to make it across the ocean to the US from Europe, like, that was it was for me, I was like, "I love everything about this." And yeah, so that was when I, like, knew that, like, I love movies. And What's Love Got to Do with It, I watched it for the first time. I don't remember how old I was, but it was when it came on. I wanna say it would had to be VH1. I don't think it was
TV, yeah.
I don't think BET, BET do the movie
TNT
thing.
or something like that.
Uh-huh, you were like, I seen it on one of
Probably.
those
Yeah.
movies, like, on the weekend, and I remember I always, love Tina Turner, like, who don't love Proud Mary? And I didn't know that that was her story of what she had been through in her life, and so, yeah, I couldn't have been I know I wasn't a teenager yet, but I may have been in, like, middle school, I think, when I actually first seen it.
Got it. Okay. Awesome. Middle school. My first time I saw it in its full, length entirety, right? I was 8 and I
Okay.
watched it with my grandma, oddly enough. So obviously some parts she had me like turn my head and then she turned
Mhm.
it off. I was supposed to leave the room, but she and I
Okay.
was still watching from the corner. I learned how to be sneaky at a young age. I'm just gonna say that. And
Well, that's telling.
she was she was still watching it, but I was
Okay.
like, all right, Granny, listen. I know you said to go over there, but this movie real good, so I want to keep watching it. So I had her door at the house. There was a door to the room that if you crack it enough, you could see where the TV was at if you stand super still. So the movie I think was on the scene where he, spoiler alert, beats her on camera for the first time when they're at the
Mhm.
house. So she had
Mhm.
me leave. So I saw the rest of it from outside of the door. And I kid you not, I stood there for like another hour just watching this movie. And I was like, oh my God, this movie is amazing. My little 8-year-old self is processing this, not obviously with my adult mind now,
Right,
like when I
right.
watched it, but still I knew that was something special. So naturally, that brings us to this film, right? For me, that connection to movies, that why, the where it comes from, especially for Black movies, is
Mhm.
so important for entertainment for us as Black people. Like I feel like they attach themselves to different seasons of our lives, right? Like you can say,
Absolutely.
I saw the wood when I was 12 years old and I had this girl who I liked named Alicia, or I watched Brown Sugar when I was this and that, and yada, 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 and
Mhm.
hip hop. Like you can tie them all into certain parts of your life. And I feel the same way, in different ways about this movie. So for you, do you feel like, or how about this? How have Black films for you shaped the way you see different parts of your life, like different chapters, if they do?
That is such a good question. Black entertainment for me in general, right,
Hmm.
makes a difference in me understanding how I show up in the world as a Black woman. Because you have for me, I think the music and the movies go together. So, like, I think about the movie, I automatically like to think about the soundtrack because
Yes.
I feel like the music ends up making an impact and, like, remembering a certain scene. Like, you brought up The Wood, and when Mike gets beat up by Stacy, you hear, like, the and he was like, "A poem shouts me from the heavens." And it's like, "My mistake, it was his face." But you can you can hear
Mhm.
the sound effects is coming in. And so those are the things for me. A nolarism is the things like the sound of things make a difference for me. And so even in The Best Man, when Harper shows up and he's in the car, you hear Lauryn Hill playing in the background on the radio. Like, so just hearing certain things for me is what connects it. But those music moments that connect back to those impactful moments in the movie help me think about my life. Like I have a soundtrack to my own life of like
Mhm.
that music played at this moment and it made a difference in how I saw it because it's a full experience, right? And so I heard that, I saw that, I feel that. And I feel like as Black people, that's what we deal with, right? I heard, from and not to make this bleak, right? But like you think about civil rights movement, we think about
Yeah.
anything back to just the beginning of your blackness, you heard certain things about yourself, or you heard you being told that you were this or you were that, like, being called out of your name, and you felt it. I know what that feels like. To be called out of my name or to be judged or to be misrepresented, right? So
Mhm.
I heard it, I saw it, I see it out there, right? And now I'm feeling it. And so what do you do with that feeling? And so as a Black woman, for me, certain Black cinema where I see like, I see actresses like Nia Long, like I see you, I feel you, I hear you, girl, because in Love Jones, like she is doing her thing, she's
Absolutely.
portraying herself as, she wants to be a photographer, but here I am playing this assistant, and the photographer is basically discrediting me for anything that I do. You're making it hard on me, and here I am just trying to figure it out. So it's like I hear you, I see you, because I'm a Black woman now in corporate America. And sometimes that the white privilege that goes on in the workplace will shun you. And so it's like those moments where I know I can relate it back to my real life. I can hear it, I see it, I feel it. That for me is what Black entertainment has done in general, just helps me be more seen in the world. And it's just so much
Mhm.
more relatable when I can see it and know what's going on. Like you mentioned, Brown Sugar. Um, and then Brown Sugar, Sanaa Lathan's character, like, she sees Dre, like, she feels him feel hip hop, like,
Yep.
I'm into it, I'm with it, and then she
On a
sees
different
him
level.
live his dream. Yeah, like, how can you not be in love with a story like that, right? Like, you see somebody, you hear them, you feel them, like, that's what love becomes, that's what Black love is. So it's just so many different connections that you could build behind the seeing, the feeling, the hearing as a Black woman, as a Black person, and how our entertainment now then replicates that. Like art imitates life. And so that's how I like to see it. It's nice to see something relatable on screen and to hear something even more so that I can hold on to.
Absolutely. That was a fantastic answer, by the way. So thank you for
Thank
that.
you. Mhm.
Naturally, as I said before, that brings us back to this movie. And when I asked you to come on the podcast to talk about it, you told me something that I thought about very deeply about this movie and the connections. You had said that talking about her story through the lens of the trigger warning, domestic abuse might heal you a bit, right?
Mhm.
And I appreciate your honesty in that because this movie, watching it now, I watched it 4 times in the past week because that's just how my brain is. I appreciate the honesty because they can shift the conversation beyond what the movie was just about the successful artist and the music and the actual behind the scenes story that was there as well. That's there
Mhm.
for several women and several people. So we're talking about connection. Like you said, it's all connected to our lives in different ways, the recognition, survival. It's all connected somehow in some way for every person. So for you, what about Tina Anime story felt personal to you?
Anne May's story is personal to me for so many different reasons. She, Anime Bullock, she grew up, with a sister, but with a mom that didn't really she didn't know any better. But her mom also grew up and we see it portrayed in the movie where she was also under the duress of domestic abuse and violence. And I can relate in that way. Seeing that happen with my parents. And I've actually never publicly talked about this. So thank you for giving me the space and opportunity to share the things. And without going into too many details, when you see something when you are raised in a certain way, you duplicate it without even realizing. There are
Hmm.
so many instances and scenarios where, as kids, if you are an athlete's child, you may grow up to be athletic. If you are a musician's child, you may grow up to be musically inclined. And so for Anna Mae, she grew up in a broken household. And in seeing that level of violence at a young age, she didn't know any different. So what does she do? She grows up and she replicates it. Now, Anna Mae went off to try to figure out life for herself. And she takes herself back to live, be with her mom and her sister. And she sees Ike for the first time at this club. And for her, she ain't never seen a man like Ike. Like, this is man with this slick hairdo. He's a musician. He's singing. Like, you know what I'm saying? My girl is
Hmm.
starstruck. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so
And
I
love,
can
yeah.
yeah, like love at first sight. Like, and so
Hmm.
I can relate to her in that way because that was how I felt about my ex. He walked into the room and it was this man of, you know, stature, well to do. And as a young black man, you don't have that often, at least for me, for where my peer view was, right? Like I had also left home. I'm from Pittsburgh originally, and then moved to North Carolina for school. And when I graduated college, it was time for me to then move into the next phase of my life, and that was what Anna Mae was doing. She had did her thing. It was time for her to move on to the next phase. So when you are phasing through life, if you have not processed or dealt with or managed what hurt you, it can come back and it's going to boomerang and hit you even harder. And Anna didn't deal with what she had seen her mother go through growing up. She didn't understand what that was for her. I didn't process it either. But it's almost like when you go back home, you go back to a place of comfort. And even as traumatizing as those scenarios may be, it is going back to a place of comfort, seeing and feeling that same it's almost euphoric and you don't realize it. So even though Anime saw Ike, in that bar singing, she's like, "I wanna impress him, so Imma go back and Imma wear the white dress and Imma sing," not
Hmm.
realizing that there were so many red flags about Ike, right? My boy has
Yeah.
so many red flags. Like,
Immediately too.
I mean, immediately, again, me and my
Yeah.
full brain, I can say it now, right? Like, I know it.
Hmm. Yeah.
But you showed up and you were willing to buy me steak and eggs in the middle of the night. We up here, we singing, or we've been smoking cigarettes. You got the white woman hanging off the balcony for you. My God, like this is probably not where I should be. She stays the night and she even sees she witnesses literal violence with his ex-wife. Like, you baby, run. Like not now, but right now. This
Don't
man made
jog,
her
run. Yeah.
psycho. Yeah, baby, run to the nearest exit. You don't even know what you're getting yourself into. And she, like most black women, thought that she could fix Ike. She thought she
Hmm.
could help Ike. She thought that she could be something different of herself in order to make him better. And it ended up sinking her even further down. And that part of the story I can also relate to. My ex-husband was in a mental headspace, or not even a mental headspace before I get to that part. He was not as experienced in relationships as he should have been. So being able to know people, know yourself, know what you wanna do versus what you don't wanna do, like, all of those things, he had not had a chance to experience in life, and I did. So we were coming from 2
Okay.
different dynamics. The even ground the foundation that we laid on was the fact that we both knew we wanted kids, we knew we wanted a family, and so that was what we ran with. Ike and Tina knew that they had
Mhm.
talent, they had music, so they went with that and they ran with it. And when you have this one thing, you think that the rest of it can kind of coincide and fit into the same bowl. And you don't realize that when you're starstruck and you're in awe and you're in love and you're young. And so for me, I did the exact same things of, girl, you're young. Like, have the kids, do the things. Like, you done already had your fun, put it away. I was literally 22, 23, my ex-husband, and at 35 now, I can say that, like, I wish I would have taken more time to know myself and to know him before I made that jump. Tina probably also wishes she would have taken more time to know herself and to know Ike before she ran into it. But once you get
Mhm.
into it, you don't really know what is happening until you're in. And so you watch Tina throughout the movie be manipulated by Ike. Like, you watch him tell her, like, even if she just had a baby or she's sick, she can't get up. "Ike, like, I need to rest." "No, you gonna go out here and make this money." And she's like, "Well, I guess I'm gonna go out here and make this money." And because what else do I know? This is now home for me. I don't know anything different. The abuse at that point is already ingrained, and you don't even know that you're being abused, right? And then it escalates. Like, it goes from him verbally abusing her to, like, he makes jokes and they go get married in Mexico and he driving off in the car like it's funny. That shit is not funny.
Mhm.
I find nothing funny about it.
Yeah.
Like, we just got married, and like, but again, is now you have a vice now to even continue to fuel the red flags and the demons that you have inside of you, because Ike had things about him that he had never processed, right? Like, what is not shown in that movie is the struggles that Ike grew up with. And of course, I ended up learning this later because I go back and do the research on it. But like, Ike had been dealing with so many bad things in his life. Like, his father was also a drug user and an alcoholic that wasn't in his life. Like, there
Yeah.
were very terrible things that he had experienced in his childhood, and that was not something that black men at that time didn't talk about. My ex-husband doesn't talk about what challenged him, but those things then come out in the person that you love the most. And you don't even realize how malicious and how much it draws you back. So as the movie goes on, we watch Tina get to a point where she literally took all the pills she could. She was over with it. She couldn't take it anymore. And I could still, like, if you don't make it, Imma kill you. Like, what's that to say to somebody?
Crazy is lying.
It's the wildest thing to say to someone. Like, it is literally the craziest thing to say to someone. And so when that violence escalates, eventually Tina gets to a point where she fights back. Like, that scene in the car, and I know at some point we'll probably go back to it, but, like, quickly graze over it. She had enough. Like, at that point, my girl was fighting back. Like, I'm sick of it. My fight back never came in a physical, it just came in me walking away. You reach a fight or a flight response. And my fight previously was vicious through words or through a lot of times truly through words, because I've already gone through that as a child, and so the physical piece I couldn't do. I will also say that my abuse was more emotional and mental than it was physical. The one
Mhm.
time that it turned physical was my only time. But, well, the most recent time that it turned physical, that was my final straw. I wouldn't do this anymore because I knew what it was like
Mhm.
to see that as a child, and I knew I wouldn't let my kids see that. So when you make that decision to say, like, you can be violent with someone like that and it escalates to that, it's not gonna do anything but get worse. The first time that Ike hit Tina, Tina should have left. The first
Yep.
time. But she kept, like, even they're in the diner and she's with Jackie and he stuffs the cake in her mouth and Tina's mouth and slaps the fuck out of her. Like, and Jackie's like, "This, I'm not about to sit in here. You can continue to do this if you want to." And
Right.
Tina's still like, "Jackie, it's all right.
It's
It is
alright.
not
Yeah.
all right to let some motherfucker pound on you. And if you stay here, you be dead too." And she didn't lie. But you can't see past the fact that this is my comfort place. This is where my love is. And the truth is there. Like, it takes women that are victims of domestic violence and abuse 7 times to leave before they actually do. And you see Tina several times try to leave, even the last time where she gets on the bus, like, or the last time I think truly when she was done is that after that fight in that car. But prior to that, you see it several times where she is trying to figure out how to escape Ike, and even to the point where she's going to kill herself to do it. She starts doing her own music. She gets to herself. But what I also want to say is what aligned in her getting back to herself was her getting to her faith. And when she found Buddhism, that changed things for her. I can relate to that because when my faith with God got better is when I started to feel mentally stronger. That mental fortitude that you lack or what you lose in a manipulative, violent, abusive relationship, you lose so much of yourself. You don't even know yourself anymore. And Tina began to do that. Like I don't even know me. But when you find a higher power, you find something above that. You notice, like, even when she got back from the hospital and everything else, she gets back to the house, Ike in there with the white women and they snoring coke on a coffee table. I mean, like, we just don't care. And
Just
he's
out in
like,
the
we
open.
got, yeah, just there. He's like, we got time, we gotta do this, we gotta be here. Okay, Ike, whatever you say. Like, eventually it's like, okay. Like, I don't even, she doesn't even have it anymore. And then it's like when you get to that point where you are truly built up so well that you can walk away, that takes an incredible amount of strength. And I don't think that women or men, because to be clear, men can also be a part of being domestic abusive relationships.
Mhm.
People don't on the outside looking in will always judge it and say, well, why won't you just leave? Why didn't you just leave? Why are you know what I'm saying? Like still putting yourself through that. People don't realize that when you spend that many years, right? Like because if you just look at the fights and if you only look at that piece, what you don't see is that it took time to lose the respect for yourself and for your spouse to lose that respect for you. Because in the beginning, Ike was whatever Tina needed. He was giving her special attention, like he was giving her the love and affection she needed. And as things got better, he starts to get jealous of her. And then he starts to resent her. And then now that violence is now implicated back on her. And all she's trying to do is love him through it.
Yep.
And love is the strongest drug you can have. When you love somebody that much, you lose the love within yourself. And until you find something else to build that back up for you, you will always be lost in that. And when Tina got out of that, she starts doing what? Rock albums? Like she gets back to what she actually likes to do. Like, I don't want to do the doo wop soul no more. She said that. Like, I'm so tired of crying about my wife left me, my baby don't love me no more, my kids ain't. Like, when she
Yeah, you
sitting
can hold
down,
that sad song. I don't want that.
okay, and she don't want it no more. And when you're done and you don't want it, you leave it. And so this gives me such peace to be able to like say it out loud that like walking because other people too they also people don't believe that you could be in a domestic abusive relationship like that if they're seeing something else from the outside looking in. And I know that the rumors were probably always there about Ike and Tina because this was the 70s, right? So Ike didn't have to be reserved about it. Also, women didn't have no rights. Women didn't have no rights. You couldn't get a credit card without a man. You couldn't buy a house if you weren't married. You
There
were
was no
not
Me
even
Too
allowed.
movement.
Yes, all of those things happened during that time frame. So while we could now say, "Oh, I would have left. I would have never been there. I would have never," you can't say what you would have done because women didn't have anything. Like Tina was the most successful woman, period, at her age and during that time frame. And to be a black woman doing that, oh my God! And so because you don't see anybody else doing it, she is a trailblazer in her own right. And she doesn't know that because at that point, all she saw historically over the years was her mom didn't have anything on her own. Her mom, the only way she could get something was through a man. The only way she had a roof over her head or anything like this is because she had a man to do it for her. Yeah, you work different jobs and odds and ends, but women didn't make as much money back then as we do now. Like a lot of women end up being breadwinners in their household in this generation, right? In 2026. In 1966, that's not a thing. And so all of those outside environmental factors are also making a difference for her. And so it is again, I see you, I hear you, I feel you, of knowing what that's like. But once you get to a point where your mental fortitude is built up enough that you can say, no, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this anymore. I now am proud of it because I can now teach my kids what to do. Like now I can teach my daughter what she needs to see and look out for before those things come in. And not just in a relationship, right? But from friends too, because friends be abusive. Like
Mhm.
y'all don't treat y'all people well. Um,
Terrible.
Terrible. And so, it was just really profound to hear such a success like Tina Turner was, knowing that she went through so many heartbreaking things. And in my life now, like I moved away from Pittsburgh at 18. I'm 35. I've been in North Carolina now for 17 years. I don't have family here, but I've built a name for myself. I have a career. I have extracurriculars. I have a community. Like my kids are a part of a community. We have so many different things here that I've been able to build up that I used to also have a mentality that I could only do this with a man. And then as more time went on, it's like, no, you actually are like, you pretty hot shit by yourself. And Tina eventually figures that out, like, no, girl, you actually
Yeah.
don't need I need you.
I can need you. There
I
you go. I
baby, I
need
need
you,
you.
especially
And
right now.
baby. And so, even in that final stage where she's like, so what you gonna do? Like, shoot me? What you gonna do? Like,
I didn't know what to do.
I didn't know what to do. You just you even but prior to the gun scene, like where he's in the car with the flowers and he's like, "No, I didn't give the narcotic and I'm done." No, you didn't. No,
Right.
you didn't. And the one you just said narcotic lets me
Mhm.
know that you still want it. Ike, Lawrence, whatever you like, sir, please. You still doing it. You have not found yourself or figured yourself out yet. And you still selfish. Cause you didn't even approach Tina with an apology. You didn't approach her with remorse. You don't have none. And she also reached a point of acceptance too, I think, in that moment of like, I ain't gonna never get nothing from this man. Like she got in the car with some hope that, like, you know what, let me hear him out. But she got one foot out the door now. She knew it was up in that car scene. I ain't about to stay here very long. I'm gonna listen to you. But like, and again, because there's still love there.
Right.
Then eventually she's like, yeah, nah, I'm out of here. You can keep this and these flowers and fuck this window. Matter of fact, on his car while I'm at it. And he's like, you just messed up a good automobile. Sir, spell automobile. Get your slow ass. Come
That
on.
was
It's so,
hilarious. I was like, that man was hilarious in that scene. I
man,
couldn't
like,
lie.
you messed up a good automobile. All right, and fuck you. Don't say anything else to me. This is over with.
Period.
Yeah, so I'll go on that tangent. And thank you for giving me the space to be able to do that. But
Of course.
there are so many women out there that I know that have that. And so there are anybody that are listening that hears this and touches your ears, like, baby, you can leave. Like, real talk. It may feel like you can't. You may think that it's hard. You may think that you're never gonna be able to. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I got up and I left, and God hasn't left me yet. Since even when I was in the thick of it, you know, like walk away. Everything can be replaced. I mean, like mementos, personal things, those things, but like leave with a bag you can carry and the clothes on your back. It's not worth your life. Like we hear too many stories, we see too many things. Like truthfully, I really believe that if Ike and Tina had not been Ike and Tina, like really who they are in the industry and in entertainment, there would have unfortunately likely been another story that we hear so many
Mhm.
times, way too often, of
Yeah.
where the husband got too drunk, got too high, and now he's killed the mother of his kids, and now she doesn't have her life either. So now you got kids running around here completely parentless because I got a father in jail and my mother's in the ground. You do not have to take it. You do not have to deal with it. It will not be easy. It will be a challenge. You will feel like you are alone for a little while, and then you will stand up, and then
Yeah.
you will remember why you left. You won't go back. The peace that you will find is insurmountable, and I mean it. Like, you don't have to deal with that. You are worth so much more. Your confidence, your integrity, like all of that, it can be built back up. Like you may feel like, man, I don't know that I can leave. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Money aside, bills aside, credit aside, don't nobody care. You can start over. I don't care how old you are, I don't care how young you are, I don't care how many kids you got. Walk out the door. Walk out the door. Especially if the violence is escalating. That's the one thing, another thing that people don't realize about abusers, right? Like it starts off small. The manipulation just it escalates. Nobody starts off taking a cast iron skillet in nobody's head. Like that's not how you start. Doesn't start that
Mhm.
way. It starts with I slammed your fingers in the door. Let me see what your response is. It starts with, let me throw a plate at the wall, see what the response is. And then it grows to, well, I'm a verbally accost you, you know, and say the little things about you that will eat and chew at your spirit. At least for me. Again, I'm a anonymous is my thing. So the hearing of it all. So the words stick with me more than anything. And as those things continue to escalate and they keep going and they keep going, you're not doing anything but adding to it. So yeah, stop adding to it. Quit that. The longer you let that bowl of negativity and harshness build like sit into you, the more that you let that attack you, the harder it is for you to actually get up out of it. So you don't have to stay in it. Hey, as rough of a movie as What's Love Got to Do with It was in the middle parts, the ending is the piece that's like the most beautiful because she leaves. Tina
Yes.
leaves, and Tina is selling out stadiums internationally.
And
Like,
she's free.
she is free. She ain't gotta worry about, "Aight, my girl was making rock music in them little mini dresses with her
She said, "You can
teased
have
out
it all.
afro." Oh my gosh,
Give
she
me
was
my
having the
name. That's
time
it."
of her life. She's living her very best life. Yeah, go be like Tina. Like, and again, she people will be like, "Oh, well, she was phony. She had this, she had that." I ain't to quote my girl Cardi B, a regular, degular, schmegular girl from Pittsburgh. And baby, you leave. Like, I promise you, you could do it. I promise you can. I have two children. One who has special needs. He's also epileptic. Like, you can do it. It ain't easy. It, days are hard, but the peace that I feel is unmistakable. So yeah, as sad of a story as What's Love Got to Do with It is, throughout it all, like you gotta remember what that ending was. You gotta remember how Tina continued to live her years, even when she was under that type of duress. So, you know, that's uh, that's how that relates to me. But what if I may ask you a question back?
Mhm.
What about what what's probably your most memorable moment in the movie?
As far as everything in general, or
Mhm. Yeah.
for me, I was gonna get into it later, but we can get into it now. So one of my most memorable parts for me is there's 2. So growing up, like I said, it was the scene where they're at the house, they're having a little party, the girls are at the pool, and then Ike comes in and, the situation goes whatever that we hadn't seen yet. It was always that one first. But over the past week, the scene that sat with me the most, I'm just gonna go to it now, is the scene where she's running. They have the fight. She's running. She goes out of the hotel. Everybody in the lobby is just staring at her. Like they saw her come in. They're staring at her leave now, but they can see she's in a hurry. She's trying to get out of here. The tension must have went to like a whole new level. I have to leave. Where is she going? Does he know what's going on here? And then she goes out. They have the music playing. Social media a couple years ago turned that into a thing where it was like a little spoof. I get it.
Mhm.
It's social media, you know what I'm saying, but that scene is not a joke. Like
No.
this woman is running for her life and doesn't know if she can escape. She's tried, like you said before, time and time again, unsuccessfully. So she's hoping this time he's sleeping real hard. I don't know if she like knocked him out. I don't know, but Ike was out
You
of
was
there. You
asleep.
know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah, he was sleep. So she's saying maybe this is my chance to escape. My face is full and I fall back, but I'm clearly still fucked up. Like I'm tired of running. I'm tired of being sick and tired. So hopefully, I'm praying I can make it out. And she goes to the hotel, across the freeway. And when they saw her walk in, everybody just staring, but not saying nothing to her. She goes up to the front and the guy at the front desk was like, "What can I do for you?" Obviously, I feel like he knew who she was before she said her
Yeah.
name because it's Tina Turner. It's 1976, not
Mhm.
1977. Tina Turner's Tina Turner at this point. So, but now her face is swollen. Like she has all these lacerations, and her outfit still had blood from the limo
Yep.
earlier. So now she's like, "Hey, listen." My name is, she still said it, but obviously we know who you are. What does she have? Like a 36 cent and a card with her.
Mhm.
No real money, nothing. But she's like, I promise you this. If you just let me have a room for a couple days, I
I will
will
pay you
pay you
back.
back and then some. So the manager sees her and that actor, shout out to him. The look in his eyes, the emotion on his face, how you can tell he took a lot of care and a lot of like he had the feeling for her that I want to help this woman. I don't know her from, my best friend next door, but I can see she's clearly tired.
Bills.
She's
Mhm.
clearly in the rest. She needs help and she needs help right now. Would I like to make some money? Sure. And I probably will at some point. But for right now, what matters the most is this woman needs help. So he's like, get her a room, stay here for as long as you need. And obviously, he didn't tell anybody she was there. The word didn't get out until she got out. And I think that's so important to have not only a scene like that, because that was a true story, but to have people in the world like that
Yep.
who will do whatever they can to help you because helping you exceeds for whatever they're looking for in that moment. Like as a human, as a person who wants the world to be a better place, how can I sleep tonight knowing I turned her away when she was at her weakest? She's crying out for help, and I said no because I want some money for this room. How can I sleep knowing I did that to this woman? So the fact that he did what he had to do, did what I would do, I I love that scene so much, and it hit me so hard the last time I watched it. Like I said, I've never gone through that kind of thing personally, which is why I wanted to have you on this episode because some things I can say till I'm black and blue, right? I can talk you up, I can say this and that, but until you hear it from someone who's experienced it, who's been around it won't hit the same.
Mhm.
So to know that in that scene he did that, and I can think about times where, I've helped somebody when I didn't have a lot. I gave a woman $10 last week when that was the last I had in my pocket, but I
Mhm.
could look in her eyes and see that while I'm not, in the greatest place in life right now, it can be worse. And this woman
Absolutely.
is out here with this, I'm assuming 3 or 4-year-old, clearly unhoused. And it's raining out here. It's storming out here. And I'm just driving past and they got their sign up. What kind of man would I be? What kind of example am I setting? Even nobody's watching. What kind of example would this be for my kids to say, when your fellow human needs you,
Mhm.
turn your back on? No. So
No,
I,
you
I
don't.
swung back around. I gave her the cash I had in my pocket and I said, God bless you.
Mhm.
So to see him do this in that scene, like a day after that happened, I was just like, damn, it's good to see that there are still good people in this world because that can
Mhm.
go a long way farther than money can get you. Like that will
Absolutely.
come back to you and then some. So I would say that scene for sure.
I will say that, that scene is impactful, and of course, we don't see the rest of, like, who else she encountered that helped her, financially, but you do see
Hmm.
Jackie help her
Yes.
spiritually and emotionally, and so she had a shoulder to lean on when she
Hmm.
came and spoke to her, like, she had never knew about chanting, she didn't know anything about it, but, in that moment, that was something that she needed, right? Jackie could see it in her. "I know that you need this, and so let me be this for you to help you in that." And that's when it comes to domestic abuse, you finances is one thing, that is needed, those things need to be taken care of. The empathy of another person is even bigger. And alongside, him not needing to take the financials from her, he also the manager very clearly had empathy. And even the bellman that was there, whenever she
Yeah.
first comes up and he's like, "George, like, come help her. Like, I
Look
can
at her.
tell that
Yeah.
she needs something, like," and so they all shared that in that moment. Like, "You need something, how can I help?" My mom when I left my ex-husband, my mom had made it clear to me that if she would have been in a better financial place, she would have left. And I think that she didn't give it enough credit potentially that she could have still left even without the finances. Like, sometimes
Mhm.
there's other things there that you need more than you need money. And so, but again, the mental duress and the constraint there. And I'm thankful that, my dad has been rehabilitated and he's a better person these days over like the last, like, honestly, 12 years, 13 years. And so it's been really a breath of fresh air to see, but you're always going to have that worry in the back of your head, especially when you've grown up with it.
Yeah.
But again, you almost become numb and used to it. And so Tina became numb and used to how Ike was because she's like, I've been living this now for years, right? But I also grew up in it. Like one of the very first beginning scenes in that movie when they leave on a horse. They leave the house on a horse. The house is a literal mess. And it's because her mother had just been beat. And her
Mhm.
grandmother's like, well, let me come get you and take you away like that is a short, small clip in the very beginning of the movie. Everybody has to take back to the fact that she was blowing like in the church, right? And then it's like, oh, you gotta be carried out of here because you can't even be in here singing like this. It wasn't really about like the singing as a child piece was important, but the other part was here she is in church trying to have this thing that she loves and is excited about and talented with to share with everybody. Well, she can't share it there. I go home. I can't share it here either because home isn't safe. There is no safety here. And they didn't have no money either, but they really didn't have
Mhm.
any safety. And so you're in that space, like that scene where she's in that white suit and she got blood all over her, like, yeah, at this point, this ain't about money no more. This is safety. It's unsafe for me to be in here with Ike. And the last time that I was in, and not even the last time, but she was previously in unsafe spaces as a child. And so what did she do? She got on a horse with her grandma and she left. And so it. There are so many synonymous moments of childhood to where she is in adulthood of those things figuring it out. But again, she had help. She had somebody to empathize with her. Her grandmother was there with her. In that scene, we see the bellman and the manager of the hotel, like, they're there for her, they're there to help. Not anything financially related, like, yeah, obviously need finances, but outside of that, there's so much more there to survival than being able to pay a bill. And to you earlier, like, your empathy that you were willing to give that last $10, like, I can see that you are in a greater need than I am, like, and it's in the good book, like, love your neighbor in whatever way that you can. It don't always have to be financial. You don't always have to make a meal. You could just be a listening ear, and that may be
Mhm.
enough to help somebody figure out, like, what they need to do, how they need to live differently, and what their next steps need to be. So there's just so many different it's surprising to me how synonymous and different, those stories of domestic abuse can be because no matter what, the lack of safety, the fear of judgment, and the worry of survival is always like those are three very similar characteristics that happen in domestic abuse relationships. And so Tina didn't want to be judged for leaving her husband. Right. She had fear of how am I gonna survive? But even then she goes to court. I don't want to keep my name. I worked too long for
That's
my
all I
name. The
want.
rest of it I don't care about. But
Mhm.
my name is what I get to
That's
keep.
mine.
And so that is profound because that right there is her securing her survival. But like you still Tina Turner. Even if he tried to keep the name or do something else with it, still Tina Turner, you will remain that name because I don't want nothing else from you. You keep the money.
Right.
I don't even care about that. It don't even matter because I'm safe now. I'm without you.
Mhm.
And I don't have to worry about the judgment anymore because a lot of the times the judgment is not necessarily about judging the relationship, but judging you, the person. At least I'll speak for me when I say that. I chose not to speak much about the negative things I was experiencing with my ex-husband over the years because I was choosing to stay in the marriage. And how dare I out my husband and try to talk about him and the things that are going on because I'm choosing to be in it. But also, I have the fear of judgment that you would judge me for not being strong enough to leave or being judged for not thinking more of myself. And when you are insecure, when you lack confidence, when you again the faith piece keeps coming back, but like you don't have that, like it will attack you. Like it will literally eat you from the inside out. And so when you actually put words to it and you start to talk about those things, it's no longer in the dark. It's no longer in the dark. Like, I can't hide this anymore now that I'm talking about it. And so now other people get to see it too. And I'm opening the door for that judgment. I'm worried about that because now I don't feel safe. And now I'm trying to figure out how to survive in my marriage while other people know this is going on. And he's going to make this unsafe for me. Can't talk about it. I can't do it. I can't let anybody else know. But then when you're like, you know what? Yeah, no, fuck this. Because this actually protects you more than it protects me. Like, this actually helps you more than it helps me. And when you get sick and tired of that, you're done. Like, so I, again, like, I won't, I, I have to continue to just applaud her for the way that she moved about that. And I have not given the credit that is due yet, but I will in this moment. Miss Angela Bassett, amazing as an actress. I'll give it to Morris Fishburne also, even though he is the villain and the antagonizer in this movie, having to play Ike. But I could not have picked a better actor actress duo to star in that film and tell that story the way that they did. Like, Angela embodied Tina. She embodied her as Anna May, as the young version of her. She embodied her as the growing up version of Tina, and then I'm working and I'm also being a mom, and I'm trying to figure out like if this is the right thing for me to do because I do love this, but I also love the music. And so, she said it like I'd be fine just being at home and being a homemaker. And but again, she's doing that also under the guise of like I'm thinking this will make Ike happy because again, what the gender roles are very clearly defined, right? I'm at home, I'm making bread and I'm taking care of the babies. And like making literal bread. Okay. Like sourdough, like not even sourdough starter. I'm talking about letting the yeast rise. Like I'm in here making bread and I'm
Hmm.
changing diapers, and that's what I'm doing. My man is outside and he's bringing the bacon home. And that is what I'm doing. And so for a long time, you had that mentality. Tina had that mentality, like, "Yeah, I'm working, but, I'd be fine if I'm just at home being a mom." And she was just trying to make it as even keeled as possible, but then you got Ike that's like, "Well, yeah, you won't do that, and you won't do that, and," like,
I wrote some songs for you.
yeah, like, I wasn't "You gonna sing them, but I want you to sing them." And that I don't know how you if you plan to touch on that scene, Imma briefly go to it, and Imma put it back to you, but when she is singing about Never Slug, he's like, "You ain't sing the song all right." He's like, "Of course I know. You don't know the words. Of course I know the words like I wrote it. This is my shit. Like I wrote the song." And then he gets so angry and so upset that that violence is like that level of assault that you can do against someone is literally the most heinous, disgusting thing you could do to somebody. And he did it without even thinking twice. Like, he didn't even think twice. He actually, in my opinion, in that scene, I mean, clearly it actually happened, right? Because it's her story.
Right.
You did that with such intent because you made everybody leave the room. So that's another thing that abusers, manipulators, narcissists, they will absolutely do. I don't mind if you see me in certain aspects, but there are certain things I'm going to actually stop you from seeing. So, like, yeah, you see me loud
Because
and
I know it's
angry,
too
but
far.
like, correct. I mean, you see me being loud and angry, like, yeah, 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 we tussled. I don't really, what I'm saying, we don't really get into it. Boy, really not that bad, but, like, look at me, right? I'm still charming, I'm still this. O.J. Simpson did it too, which, that's a whole
Hmm.
other story for a different day, but, like, when Cuba Gooding Jr. was in, they did the American Crime Story on FX, like, Cuba
Fantastic.
is talking to the police officers, but because he's OJ, the police officers are like,
I'm not
"Yeah, we
black. I'm
love
OJ.
OJ." Yeah, like, "Oh my god, I love OJ." And then, like and he says it. That's where I got that with the tussle thing because he says it in the recordings, like, "Well, you know how it is, like, we tussle a little bit, but it ain't really anything going." Meanwhile, Nicole Brown Simpson had a lockbox with the pictures of her literally having her face beat in, and they still looked at him. I was like, "Well, did he really do it? Like, are you sure there ain't nobody else?" And it's like, "Really?" Really? So you have Ike, who is also portraying that, right? Because back then, it wasn't really a crime or an issue for you to assault your wife. It wasn't a crime or a problem for you to, whether you were sexually assaulting them or physically assaulting them. It really wasn't against the law. And they even say it in the O.J. Simpson and American Crime Story in one of the episodes. one of the attorneys, he says it actually wasn't a crime for you to rape your wife until 1993. Could you imagine? Could you imagine
Insane.
being able to go through like, you literally just had to lay there and take it as a woman. That is crazy. And so in that scene where they're in the studio booth in the living room and he's like, "Everybody leave. Like, y'all gonna get out. We wanna talk about this." It's like, you needed to give her even more of your anger,
Mhm.
and you needed to show her how much more you could control her, how much more you could overpower her, even though you had already not like, had you not taken enough from her, you needed to take everything she had. It wasn't enough. She gave you everything, her voice, her years, her body, her time, her energy. That wasn't enough for you. It still wasn't enough. I'm gonna literally take everything you have. And
Right.
when you can do that, that is putting you like, you need that control because you over somebody else because you lack your own self-control. Like, he was a habitual drug user, a habitual alcoholic. Like, you didn't know when to stop, and it's because 'cause you're trying to cloud your own demons, and now you're manipulating the situation so other people around you don't really see you for who you are, and if your spouse tries to talk to you about tries to talk to you or tries to talk about you in that way, they do have a leg to stand on, it's like, I kinda could believe it, but it's Ike Turner. It's
Mhm.
shining. He's the rock star. Like, he's just cool as a cucumber. Like, nah, they got a lot of money. They got kids. They got this big house. Like, they wouldn't be doing that. They can't. That's not a thing. I
It's
mean, maybe they just have
impossible.
some disagreements. It's impossible. Like, well, maybe they just have some disagreements. Like, maybe she don't really understand. Maybe she's just over exaggerating. And so, not believing women was also the challenge there too, because you even like her own mother even does it to her. Her own mother even does it to her when she calls to tell her, like, "I need to come stay with you that night when they leave on the bus." And then she's like, "Ike, these issues." And she's like, "Oh, yeah, I talked to Ike. When you talked to Ike? When he bought me a house?" "He did what? You
Exactly.
did
He bought
what?
you a house.
You let
That's
my
a good man.
husband." It's a good man, man. Like, yeah, is
Mhm.
it? "You let my husband buy you a home, mother. When you didn't even have the decency to call me to talk about it, you didn't
At
ask me,
all.
did I know about it?" And so now he is manipulating the mother because she's already been an abuse victim, right? Already been there, already done that. And I can see that. And so she's still willing to talk to me. She's still willing to receive things from me. See, I bought your mother a house. I can't be a bad person. I can't be those I'm not those terrible things to you. So even when she says it to her mother and could tell him, like, "Yeah, I think you misheard that. I don't think you got that right." Women don't even believe other women. So when that happens, it's like Taylor was like, for so many years, who is gonna believe me? Like, how am I supposed to do this? How am I supposed to get it right? And so if anything, I hope for anybody else also listening, let this be an encouragement to you. If somebody tells you something, especially as it relates to domestic, I mean, just in general, right? But especially as it relates to domestic abuse, be empathetic, listen to them, hear them, believe them. It is so hard to actually build up the courage and the strength to even talk about it and to be able to even tell somebody they went through something like that, let alone for
Mhm.
them to actually now, I got the guts to say it. And the very first thing a person says to me when I say it is like, "Well, are you sure?" Well, you know what? I'll be damned. I'm actually not sure. I ain't gonna talk about it no more. Like, I don't even know if that happened to me. Maybe I ain't tripping. Like, and so, you spend those years going through that, but man, that scene where he takes the last bit of anything that she would have had was like, yeah, like I would have swallowed all those pills too. Like, I don't even know why I'm here. What am I doing here on this earth anymore? Yeah, it's more than disheartening. That
Yeah,
was a rough scene.
it was. It absolutely was. So let me just say, I knew I wanted to have you on this episode for that reason in particular. Like the last 25 minutes, you touched on literally everything. I'm looking at my notes right now. Everything I had that I wanted to mention and bring up, like, for example, them riding away on the horse, her mom abandoning her and what that was gonna do for her in the future, and how that came back around for her and Ike and his issues that he had in the background, 'cause I researched that as well. You literally brought that all up without me asking. Like, I knew this would be one of the easiest interviews I've done so far because the way you see movies, the way you are a natural yapper,
I am.
and the way you are passionate about certain subjects. I said, "Oh, having Brittany on for this episode is gonna be." I don't know why I'm taking notes because I feel like this can all come out naturally, and it literally just did. So thank you for
You're
that.
welcome.
Like, I saw Ike, and I noticed those things watching it. Like, I noticed his insecurities,
Mhm.
how Lawrence played him, and then Lawrence even said, like, for him, it was like a Venus flytrap in a way, right? Like, it was something that's attractive that becomes dangerous once you get too close, and he didn't even wanna play Ike, like, they had
Yeah.
to beg him, and he only said yes when he found out Angela was playing Tina.
Mhm.
So, imagine getting this movie without him in it. I don't know how it would have been, but the way he plays Ike and shows Ike and the layers to Ike, the big bravado tough guy, the insecurities when Tina's getting like offers and not Ike and Tina, just
Oh,
Tina, like the way
Justina.
he goes into like a shell of himself while still trying to play tough guy, like all that showed. And the way Lawrence played him and the way Angela played Tina is just, like, fantastic. The way Angela got in shape for playing
Mhm.
Tina, like, the way she carried her body and the way her arms, like, she could punch a dude
Jesus.
in the
Guns.
throat,
Real
and
guns.
he out of there. Like, Ike wouldn't have had a chance if she had them arms in real life. Like, that hurt insane. So I was impressed by both of them and what they did for these roles. So, since we talked about all that, my question now to you and what I want to get into now is beyond the performances, right? Beyond the Ike and Tina, the themes in the filmmaking and this movie kind of reinforce all these ideas in itself. Like when you look at the cinematography,
Mhm.
one thing I noticed is that the cameras, it was very clever how they did it. Like the camera often had us inside of the abuse.
Yep.
Like, you can tell when it was coming and they had the close-ups and it would tighten and pull you in. So, "Hey, the friend just left the room. We're gonna zoom in on her face right now." And the music, like, goes down. You see his hand come out of nowhere. Boom. Like, that lighting
Mhm.
changes. It's like a sharp beat, and it just all feels less like a home and
Mhm.
more like a cage and
Yep.
second. Like, I thought the way they filmed that and the way they probably directed that was outstanding to me. So, what did you think about those visual contrasts, like from scene to scene and the close ups and how they tightened on certain aspects and how they want you to see the stage part differently and the abuse part differently?
I will say that, you actually put it pretty perfectly. You are caged in. So, if you've never been in a fight, not even just a domestic one, but just a fight in general, everything else around you is smoke and mirrors. I don't see the rest of it. You only see that moment and where you are. And so the way that the cameras pull in, not even just in the studio piece, but the same way with the fight with the pool when he comes in and he slaps her over the couch and she all the cars fly all over the place.
Mhm.
And she's crawling away on the back of her hands. She's like, "Ike, you told me you would never hit me, like, please." And she tries to run away from him, and he still gets to her. And then you zoom in, and the kids are right there, and the camera
Yeah.
takes it away from the rest of the house, and you could now in this moment, you can clearly visually see that the kids can see it too. And so it's like the violence is now zoomed in. And then you go out back to the friends, they zoom it in to where you just see Jackie sitting there and just listening. The rest of it I can't
Yeah.
hear and see because it's smoke and mirrors. Anything else is going on, you don't see, you can't hear. And then when he just throws her at the edge of the bed and they're in the room in that moment, it's zoomed out. And while I don't have a close up of her face or his face or a hand or a fist or a body part. That moment in itself is also very telling because now I want the initial height of it all has come down. So now look at the full scope. We are in this early 1970s home with the shag carpet and the circle bed and the wigs and the gowns and the dressers. And so I see the money. I see the fame, the things that are making it all glitz and glamour. And then here Tina is in the fetal position, curled up, and Ike is standing just over her. And in that moment, it feels cheap. Everything else around me is so loud. And so everything else, this feels cheap. This feels low. This feels small. This feels caged. And so, even with all of this around me, I'm still curled up in a ball. And this is the only space where I feel safe at the bottom of my bed, curled up in a ball on the floor. And it's because the person who is essentially creating a cage for me is being the cage. He's standing over her. And so I have to applaud them for the way that they carried through because in the studio scene, in the limo scene with the fight, in the dragging with the pool scene, even in that drag, you're actually with Tina. You are with Tina in that drag on the hallway, even before it pans over to the kids. And so it's making you feel it. Like these are the moments that are louder. These are the moments that are more impactful. I could be on a stage. I could be in a studio with all the people with the instruments. I could do all of the other things, right? Those can all be whatever they are. But then when I get here, when you're in that harsh of an environment, that's all you see. Like, that's all you feel. Like nothing. Oh God, I told myself I was not gonna get emotional on this podcast. It is what it is though.
No, it's
Um,
okay, please.
you that's all you see. That's all you see, that's all you feel, that's all you hear. And for them to understand that and capture that in a way, that's why I think the abuse part of the movie is what stood out so loud because they made it so that you could not see anything else. Like, because that's what it feels like. Like when you
Yeah,
are in it and those moments are happening, like I don't see the rest of the house. I don't see the stage. I don't see the awards. I don't see the money. I don't see the fame. I don't see the years. You don't see any of that. You see the darkest sides of somebody.
yeah,
And when you feel a heaviness of like, how do I get out of this? And you can't. You can't because you're caged in. So then being able to capture that, me being able to relate to it as deeply as I do, again, I hope y'all feel this and y'all hear this. It is a very real thing. Like when people are like, "Oh, is it really that bad?" It is. It is. If you've never been in a fight, you don't realize that. And if you've never been in a fight, and if you've never been in a fight with the person that was supposed to love you with their all, you don't know how much
right.
harder that is. You don't know how much more that hurts. And so even when it's over, the pool scene, like he comes and he tries to make it better, with the gift and leaves the gift there. Ironically enough, I feel like that is maybe the only scene that we actually see where he tries to make it better. In the rest of them, you see the fights happen and then they go back to work like it didn't happen, right? Like we're not gonna talk about it.
Right
We're
back
not gonna
to
try
it.
to do anything. We right back to it. And so
Mhm.
that's how the cycle continues, right? I don't
Yeah,
take the time to process what happened. I don't take the time to apologize. I don't take the time for the remorse. I'll simply give the gift and walk away. And I hope that you just forgive me. You know, like, and he's even said, like, please don't leave me. Like, and so it makes her feel, I feel endeared to now. Like, I feel like I gotta stay. Yeah. And so those moments were well, like, amazingly done. And the producers, even in the role that like because again the a few fights that happened at that point, but she goes to do when she does the symphony with the ragdoll recording, and oh god, I cannot think of the name of the song in this moment. But when she's doing it with Paul Simon, and they're like, they want to do the
my
song, well, I
favorite song,
continue.
yeah.
Yeah, and she says, and the director or the manager comes back and says, no, 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 they want to do this with Tina.
Right.
Okay,
Just her.
just her. And so then they get in there and she's in the recording. I love the way that they panned it to zoom in on her and you could see her
Yes.
joy being in that studio by herself. Again,
She
I'm in
felt
my
free
cage.
even just for a
Oh my
second.
God. She's in a fruit cage almost if that even makes sense. Like I'm in this
Yeah,
cage, but the roof is off. And the symphony is here, the band is here, they're playing, and even when they go back to listen to it, you see Ike sitting there holding onto his chest and he's scratching at his chest. And I'm sure that he's sitting there thinking about how can I pick this apart? And you can't. You literally can't. There's absolutely nothing you can say about this. So all he does is says, "It's good, Aim. It's real good." And you just walk around.
They're real good at.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
he walks out the
Real
room, and
good.
it's because what else can you say to her? You can't say nothing else. And so I love that they found ways to make you feel. And I think the closeness of the camera or the wide angles, those things did it, right? So that you could really, really feel it when it needed to be felt. So yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you again for being so transparent and open on this podcast. I know you said this is the first time you've done something like this
Mhm.
on this kind of scale, so I appreciate you for that. I want to transition to music. I'm glad you said that. 'Cause that was actually my next topic I want to get into, because obviously none of this works without the music. There is no movie. There is no what's love got to do with it. She had a life, but it was a lot of it was based around music. So for this film, growing up, kind of like the scenes I said before, I had a favorite song growing up. Like me as a kid, me as like a teenager.
Mhm.
Obviously, you hear Proud Mary, you hear What's Up Got to Do with It. But my favorite song in my adult years is different for several reasons. Like, I think my taste has different layers and genres, but Tina became one of the artists whose music transcends generations and
Mhm.
genres. So I say the song that resonates with me the most, when you mentioned it just now, I laughed because I'm like, that's my favorite song currently.
Okay.
Like the way it comes on, you can just hear her joy, and she says, "When I was a little girl, I had a rag doll." Like that first line, I can feel her passion in every single word. Like only doll I've ever owned, and how the symphonies in the background. When I saw that scene last week, I literally shed a tear.
Mhm.
'Cause I was like, "This is so fucking beautiful." Like, the music, the colors, her smile in that scene after going through what she'd been through so far, like you said, she felt even though she was in the cage, she was free, and she
Yeah.
felt like herself in some form for the first time in a long time. So I would say River Deep Mountain High is absolutely my favorite song right now from Ike and Tina or from Tina in general. What's your favorite song from the movie or just in general by Tina Turner?
Funny enough, it's the same one.
Yeah,
Because
a
for me,
banger.
it's the lyricism behind it.
Yes.
Like the lyrics. Do you know how much you gotta love somebody to love them as much as you love a rag doll that you had when you were younger? Like that has to be some of the deepest love that you have ever had. And even throughout it, like she asked, like, "Did you have a puppy?" Like that that follows you, like, and she's telling her own story. She's as faithful as that puppy. So it's like she's speaking
Yes.
to him in that moment of
Mhm.
saying and telling him, "This is how much I love you," right? And so she's singing it. And even again, she's free in that moment because she gets to do this project without him. But even then, at that point in the movie, that point when this song would have been recorded, she was she was still trying to help Ike. She still
Yeah,
loved him that much, and so
absolutely.
but it's 2 things, right? 2 things can be true at the same time. She's showing her
Mhm.
love. She is also showing, how manipulated she was. Like, you were that manipulated that you would follow this man around like a puppy followed a young little boy. Like, and the way that she words it is that she's going to be faithful like that puppy and to not let her down. And to not let him down. And she's doing that. Like, I'm not gonna let you down. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna do this with you. Um, and doesn't even see it in that way. If anything, he sees it as him her actually leaving him. But she is saying, truly, ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough. Like she's saying that in this song
Mhm.
without saying it. Like river deep, mountain high. I'm in a valley in the river, and at the very top of it, I'm with you. Like she is making it very, very clear that she would lose it if she lost him. Like, that right there is such deep of a love, and it's like, when you get to the point where you love somebody like, that is so that is strong, that is deep, that is trustful, but I think I love the song so much too because it plays to the movie that
Yes.
you had that much love for the wrong person. You would I wish you would have turned it to yourself. Like, I would
Mm.
like, "Tina, I wish you would have" like, she eventually gets to that point. She eventually gets to that point because for her, she's like, it gets sweeter, it grows and all these things, and she's saying this, and she's pleading to him essentially in this song. But at the same time, when I watch the movie in the way that she sings it, and I think about the lyrics, she's also, telling it to herself, maybe a future self of hers, and she just don't know it yet, but, like, it gets sweeter. When you leave, it gets sweeter, like, that's why I said there's so many synonymous themes in this where it's like, I can see it this way and see it that way, and so where she's singing the song and it's very beautifully written in just the way that it was put together, like, the score behind it, I mean, like, amazing, amazingly done. Like you said, obviously everybody loves Proud Mary, but I even love
Mm-mm.
in the beginning where she's just been finding her voice and I'm talking to the priest, the high priest, and she's like,
Mhm.
that's her trying to
Make
prove
me
herself
over.
to Ike. Yeah, maybe never, maybe not. Like she's trying to prove herself to Ike. And again, in the lyrics right there, I wanna be made over. Make me over. Like, and so Ike eventually does that for
Symbolism.
her because then eventually she comes out at the beginning after the perm and burn all her hair off, and she come out in that solid gold dress, and she's made over now. Like, rock me. Like, you rock me all night long. Like, okay, here I go. And so those things for me, again, there's so many things that are synonymous or that, are running parallel in this movie that you could play and use in any way, shape, in different forms. And so I love that, again, art imitates real life. So I say all that to say that, like, River Deep Mountain High is from the movie itself, absolutely my favorite because she's telling her own story in that one song. I'm
Mhm.
following Ike around like a puppy, and no matter what it is, Imma do it, and it's gonna be here, but at the same time, she's telling herself, like, as this grows, as your confidence grows, as your love for yourself grows, like, it gets sweeter, and so, yeah, that's how I see it.
Come on. Clap it up for that one time. Like, that's how you talk
2
about it.
snaps in a circle.
Come on. We love to see it.
Yeah.
So here on the Cinematic Soul, right, I have a segment that I started a few weeks ago called Cinematic Flowers, right? And it's time for that right now. So the
Okay.
way this goes is in the movie, you pick a person, whether it was a person that had 2 lines or last time in Mahogany, the guy had like 4 lines in the whole movie. Doesn't have to be the main character. If they speak to you, it can be, but who is the one person who you feel like just absolutely showed out and did something for you that you didn't even know you needed while watching this movie? I'll say mine. I actually have a 1A and 1B.
Okay.
So mine has to go to Angela Bassett, but for different reasons than the obvious ones, right? Like, I don't think there will ever be a Tina Turner performance better than this one, and the fact
Mhm.
that she didn't win the Oscar. I
Oh my
saw the
god.
piano
I'm still mad
before
about
y'all
that.
say
I'm still mad
I've
about
seen the
that.
piano several times. Like I said, very well versed in film culture. So I've seen both movies several times. There's no way that out of all the choices, that should have won over this
Okay.
movie. Like there's just no way. So I think that should have been hers. I'm glad she's graceful and she's like, oh, it's okay. I just love the experience and what's for me is for me. That's all wonderful, Angela. All the right things. However, the way she
However.
embodied Tina in this movie,
Mhm.
it's fantastic. I can't say nothing about like I said, I watched it 4 times in the past week. I felt like I was in the movie with her in every scene. Like her eyes, her body
Yeah.
language, she just went somewhere else and took it to another stratosphere. And at the same time, for part B, I gotta give my flowers to not a person in the film, but somebody who worked on it, Ruth E. Carter. Shout out to
Mhm.
Ruth E. Carter. If y'all don't know, she was the costume designer for this movie and
Yeah.
several others. Google her name, you'll be like, oh, her. Oh, that movie? over 100 films. I'm talking
Mhm.
blockbuster, big budget Hollywood film. Black Panther worked with Angela Bassett again later on in her career. Like I was reading that she studied Tina's performances frame by frame to get an idea of what kind of style she wanted. Not the same ones from the performance to make it look so similar to where you would think it was the same one. Like she was even counting beads on the damn dresses
Yeah.
to recreate how they moved on stage back in the 60s and the 70s. And like that kind of detail is what goes unnoticed to me. So
Mhm.
thank you to Ruth Carter. Thank you to Angela Bassett. And for you, who would you say deserves your cinematic flowers for this movie?
So I have 3, and mine are
Okay.
gonna be for, kinda deeper reasons. Um,
Mhm.
but, Imma try to go through this quick because I know we're making this kind of a long episode, but I'm gonna go to it.
You're good. Listen, this is my
Lorraine
good content. That's fine.
Yeah, this really good content tonight. So Lorraine is,
Okay.
Ike's first wife.
Yes.
Lorraine is very clearly telling us what to expect. Like,
Mhm.
that has so much, predictive, like, baby, I can see where this is going. This lady is in this house. At the time, remember anime was, what, 16, 15 when she meet Ike? Because there's an age gap there too. So he was a child, a
Yep.
literal child.
She was a kid.
And yeah, and Lorraine is in here like, "You ain't even worth the bullet." Like, I'm looking at you and realizing that you a child. Like, I know that you sleeping with my husband, obviously. You in this house, and, again, you don't know what you don't know, but you had the nerve. You had the nerve to have this child in this house, fucking her down the hall, and again, at that point, they hadn't technically had sex until after, but we already knew what it was.
You knew what was
You
gonna happen.
you
Yeah.
knew what was gonna happen. This lady is in this bed with this bra on, okay? In my house. Honey, you got kids on me, I'm tripped out. I'm so tripped out, I'm on to shoot you, can't shoot you, or shoot myself. Like, you literally somebody look at me and tell me I'm not worth the bullet, baby, I'm about to leave. I don't know what y'all got going on in this house, I'm never come back here. I'm never coming back here. Don't call me again. I want nothing to do with this. Lorraine gave so much premonition of what we could expect that I don't think she got enough credit
I
for
agree.
what she was ultimately even trying to warn. Whether she was trying to warn Tina or not, or what it was, that right there would have been enough for me. Baby, what is happening here? That's enough. So that's my first one. I love that again, like I said, I love that Lorraine showed the way that she did. Like she was at her wits end then. Like, so baby, you don't even know how much drama I could put her through. Second one for me is Frost. Frost is Ike's best
Frost.
friend.
That's so funny.
Frost is Ike's best
I was
friend.
gonna say Frost.
Okay. Frost was a grade A enabler.
Mhm.
And Frost was the best friend. He was the driver. He was the roadie, everything. Like we carried Atina out of the hospital. My girl is sick as hell. I sunk in. Ain't 100 pounds walk with a t-shirt on. I mean,
Just had a
sick.
baby?
Oh my God, depleted. There was nothing left that she had to give. Still saying, I'm gonna come get you so you can get up out of here. We can go to Mexico and get married. And Frost carrying her down the steps. He was
Yeah.
the person that any manipulator or just again manipulators mainly. He was that enabler. Like it's the same thing as when you watch My Sister in Kind Life and Dr. Now Bazardian looks at them and says, "So who's your enabler?" You have somebody giving it to you, right? Somebody's feeding it to you. Ross was being that and didn't even know it. At the cake at the cafe and the cake thing, just go ahead eat the cake, anime. Like, please, Tina, just eat the cake. Like, let him be. And so that right there meant so much to me in the movie. Eric is someone that deserves credit because you don't even know what the movie is trying to teach you. You could be that person in somebody's life and you don't even know it. You are just going with the flow to just let it be. You also don't have a backbone. You are also being abused and you don't even know it. You just letting that man do whatever he want to do. Okay. Um, Third and final for me is Jackie. Jackie actually probably ends up being one of my favorite, if not top three characters for me in this movie because Jackie
Mhm.
was the friend that had been there and was trying to see past it. Because Jackie had to work too, right? She's a background singer. Jackie had to work too. I had to pay my bills. I know he with other women. I know he doing whatever he gonna do. Ugh, like, if you remember, Ike and Jackie argue even at the pool scene, like, even before he
Mhm.
goes in, like, he got an attitude with her for being out there yelling and being too loud and having too much fun. Like, we are having a pool day. Relax. The reason why
Jackie
you
always had a voice.
always, always, Jackie never cared. Okay? She
Mhm.
never gave a fuck. I love that about Jackie. And then she got there, and and again, she would even make the jokes, "I fire your ass." Like, my girl was funny. And that final scene where she had had enough, like, and again, at
Mhm.
that point, Jackie had been drinking. She had her own demons too she was fighting. But again, then Jackie does what? She repairs herself. Jackie heals. She feels better in the end. Like, yeah, Jackie would probably still cuss you out. She probably cuss you out with some love, though. Like, she probably cuss you out and then play with you. That's what's different about Jackie now. And so she stayed true. Yeah, she stayed true to herself, and she
Right.
and she ultimately helped lead Tina out of that prison that she was in. So yeah, those are my 3 that, like I said, I don't think got enough they didn't get enough credit in this film.
I love that. I love that. And also, like, speaking of Frost, like I said, seeing this movie as a kid, you don't really tie certain things into it, or like certain things that come back around until you look at it with your adult eyes. So I was
Correct.
watching this movie and I hadn't watched it in full, probably in over, I want to say 10 to 15 years. Like, cause this isn't
Mhm.
one that I just sit and watch
Yeah, you understand and
on
watch
like a
this, right?
Friday. Right. Yeah. Yeah. But obviously I've seen it before in my life. It's several
Mhm.
times. I just don't watch it all the time like that. So watching it, I was like, this person seems so familiar. Like, who is this actor playing this character? And I like Googled it and Frost, I was like, Shy McBride, I've seen him in like so many things since then. Like, obviously, he was the dad in Roll Bounce, all these
Mhm, mhm.
movies, Undercover Brother. And I was just like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
that's the same person? And also, as I'm watching it, they get to the end of the movie. They're at her hotel. Ike Jr. comes in. Ike Jr. is Slim from the Wood. I'm
Yep.
like, well, hold on, wait a god,
Or
is that
or
Slim with
Mike,
this Jerry curl?
we can't stand
I
Mike
was like,
now.
Slim.
We didn't like him as Mike. I ain't
Yeah,
like
well, Mike did Sheila, you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Mike did Sheila
y'all
wrong
know she
now.
fat as hell. Like,
Yeah, Mike did
he
Sheila
was
wrong,
on some
boy.
bullshit. But Sarge from The Rookie, I was like, wait a minute.
Mhm.
Like I said, that was a small role. He had 3 lines he said in that.
Right.
But to see him in that role with
Early
that
on.
hair, by the
Mhm.
way, I was like, oh,
And
this is
that black
gold.
guy, my boy came in there
That put
like,
a smile on
I
my
can't be with mom. I can't
yeah.
be with her no more, mom. I can't do this."
That snap, he's going
Mhm.
crazy. Like, so like that was cool to see, like I said, from my like adult lens, seeing these actors when they were in their younger days and maybe first getting their start, in Hollywood. And to see how far they've come was pretty cool to me. Talking about bringing it full circle though, I think, like I said, all our topics today, talking about the movie, all these elements are why this movie endures and why I think it's important for the culture. Like,
Mhm.
is it messy historically in
It
some
is.
places? Sure. Some details got changed, of course, but emotionally, I think that part is so heavy on the good side and the bad side that this movie just feels true. Like, you
Mhm.
can feel Tina clawing away and clawing her way back to herself
Yes.
in different forms in this movie. Like, not Ike's version of her, not the industry
Absolutely.
version, to her true version. So I think this movie still holds up and it connects on a far different scale than I would have, like, let's say, 20 years ago. So for you, what do you think about this story still connecting today? And do you think people should watch it from a different lens today?
Absolutely. You brought clear attention to it that, like, the version that she grew into as that movie went on, again, personally relatable. When I met my ex-husband, I was not, in a place where I was, like, as confident in myself as I am today. I didn't love myself the same way. I didn't think that I could do the things that I do now. Like, I'm a full figure woman and I teach workout classes and I am in corporate America. Like I said, my daughter dances, my son has special needs, and I'm able to just do the things. Like, you can do anything you put your mind to. And it is amazing how other people will try to take from you and try to pull you down to the level of the version they want you to be, and you are destined for something greater. And while Tina was led into the music industry, she had always had her own voice. Tina's voice and who she was had nothing to do with Ike. It had nothing to do with she had that. Tina had her voice, she just didn't know what to do with it. So while there was some love there, there was some value and appreciation there, absolutely. But if you were gonna rewatch this movie, rewatch it with having the solace in knowing how you start isn't how you're supposed to end. And whoever helps you to get there may not need to be there when you finish. Because if
Mhm.
you don't change your mindset, if you don't change your energy, if you don't put yourself in the right headspace and with the right people, you could be dragged into one of two destinies. Tina could have very well ended up being a drug addict and an alcoholic very easily.
Absolutely.
Very easily. She was under some of the worst life circumstances you possibly could imagine. And with a man is even worse. Okay. That man was not good for her. Terrible human being. And so, no no shade to Ike family. Like, I'm sorry, God rest his soul, but like, come on.
Well, yeah,
Ike wasn't a good person. And so
it is what it is.
yeah, I probably had some good moments, let's be clear. There were likely some
Of
good
course.
moments that were in there. There were some good things. It doesn't take away from the fact they still conceived children together. So were there happy moments? Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's the same thing as if you get in a relationship. If you're in a relationship with somebody, that person can either bring the good out of you or the bad out of you. And sometimes in this case, right? Tina didn't bring the bad out of Ike, but Tina made Ike face himself in the mirror, and he didn't like what he saw. And he didn't like that the reflection of Tina was not always whatever Ike wanted. Like Ike wanted Tina to sing a certain way. Tina gonna sing how she can sing. It's her voice, is how she sing. Ike wanted those collaborations to include the both of them. Don't everybody want you. And so when you get to that point where Ike could have been supportive of her, where he could have been encouraging, he could have changed his ways to make things better, then he would have still had her by his side. He wouldn't have been sitting in that damn Oldsmobile with a cracked window. Like you could have this could have been different if you were different. So if you're going to watch this movie now in 2026, yes, it's disparaging. Yes, it's sad. It's all of these things, but it's also a comeback story. It's
Absolutely.
also a journey of revitalization. It is also a tale of womanhood and what that actually
Mhm.
means. Like women we don't wake up with that confidence. And historically, it has always been told to let a man tell you what to be, right? Like you look at your mother, like your grandmothers and your mother's mothers, they're always like, well, once you do this, you got to get you a man. And at least for me growing up, right? Like
Listen,
don't you eat too much now. You better push the plate away. No man gonna want you. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, right, so, the outside influences of what people try to tell you what you should be and what you should do and how you should live. No, live
right.
unapologetically for you. Once you do, you have what's say in the Bible, you have a peace that surpasses all understanding. Live for you, live for your purpose, live for whatever it is that is destined for you. And however you get there, can't nobody tell you what you're supposed to be doing and how to get there. You also can't tell me to do something or be something you've never been yourself. And Ike was trying to tell Tina to conform to be something that he could not even get to. Like, we got to remember, Ike finds Tina, right? Not the other way around. Tina didn't find Ike. Ike found her because she put herself in a place where she could be found. Like she went
Correct.
back to that bar the second time around. And
Intentionally.
correct. And if you remember, Ike was searching for a voice. He passed that mic around that bar looking for somebody that could take him to where it was he was trying to get to. You can't get there by
Mhm.
yourself. Because if you could, you would be sitting in this bar smoking cigarettes up here and,
You'd be
and trying to
gone
sing
already.
at the same time. You would have been already on the stage.
Correct.
Tina put you there. So Tina didn't find
Mhm.
you to get her somewhere. You found her and she allowed herself to be found. Right? And so Tina didn't even know it, but that was also needed for her, right? Like the abuse and things like that is terrible. It doesn't take away from their success or how they were able to do things. It's bad. And listen, we've seen people in the entertainment industry, right? Like do really successful things and live really bad personal lives. And it's because you don't know how to manage what you are suffering from. And if you're suffering enough, you want other people to suffer. What you will tell you, misery love company. And Ike was sad.
Ain't that the
Ike was
truth?
so sad. So he used all his money on cocaine and alcohol, thinking that was going to fuel him. He then tried to control Tina, thinking that was going to do something for him. So if you are watching this movie now from the lens of, look at it from the lens of who do you have in your life that's like Ike? Not necessarily beating you, not necessarily, sexually assaulting you, not to the literal sense, but like think deeper. Like, think about that. Who you got around you that is like Jackie? Who you got around you that's like Frost? Them are the people I wanna be like. I wanna be like Jackie. Jackie walking around here with his bob and these sly ass bangs and his really nice little walk up townhouse. My girl drives a Mercedes with
Mhm.
a car phone. Baby, I wanna be like Jackie. Like, that's what I wanna
Shout
do.
out to, Vanessa Bell Calloway.
Yeah,
Shout out to her.
my girl's Frost out here sucking down whatever cake I left on the table. Okay? You walk up her ass, Tina, what she say? Don't get none on you. Cause you know, like, cause he ain't leaving with the tread coat. He tried to like say,
Mhm.
hey, that ain't free, man. Put that down. It's not yours. You taking from whatever I want you to have, right? So if you
Correct.
got people like that around you, that ain't what I want. That ain't how I want to live my life. She wanted to live like Paul Simon. She wanted to be like the rock star people that y'all niggas. I want to be like y'all cutting the checks. So when you're watching it, watch from that lens of like, what can I learn from these people that either were going to positively influence Tina to be better and do better for herself versus the ones that were trying to
Mhm.
keep her in that same shady ass valley that they were in. Like, yeah, where darkness is, no light can get to, and that's where I wanted to keep Tina, and she saw the light elsewhere. She got up out of there. Um, so yeah, think about
That part.
that. That's what I encourage people to see it from when they watch this right now in present day.
Very well said. Very well
Thank
said again. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming on to the podcast of Cinematic Soul. This was a fantastic conversation. I truly appreciate your honesty and ability to come on here onto this new platform and speak your truth. That
thank you.
goes a long way. And I'm sure somebody will hear it and, take that to heart and like take your words and feel them because they are going through or have gone through a similar thing. So thank you for that. Where can the folks find you, if anywhere, on social media?
Ooh, all the places. So
Okay.
on TikTok, and my step page for Instagram, they are both Brittany B, so Brittany, the letter B as in boy underscore in every step. That is my TikTok and my Step Instagram. My personal Instagram and my personal threads is Dr. Love MD. So DRLOVE, like medical, D like degree. I'm not an actual doctor, so I get that question all the time. But Love is my maiden name. And I was going to go to medical school before I transitioned into pharmacy. So I just kept the name. Dr. Love is actually very fitting. So yeah, you can find me in those spaces.
Absolutely. And of course, y'all know y'all can find me at Cinematic Soul Pod on IG, on Threads, on YouTube. The podcast will be uploaded as soon as I get done with that. I want to get this out quick because y'all are going to love this episode. Again, that's Cinematic Soul Pod on IG, Threads, and YouTube. And as always, stay black, stay magical, and keep the soul and cinema alive. Thank y'all for listening. Peace and love.